Have you ever wondered what it was actually like to see a Shakespeare play for the very first time? I'm not talking about in some quiet, modern theater, but in the loud, messy, and absolutely revolutionary world of Elizabethan England. Well, that's exactly where we're going today.
And this is a really fascinating question, right? For centuries, most plays were about religious stories. And then, it feels like almost overnight, in the late 1500s, London just erupts with permanent playhouses and professional actors. So what happened? What was in the air that caused this incredible cultural explosion?
Well, the thing is, it wasn't just one thing. It was more like a perfect storm. This unique mix of new ideas, savvy politics, and huge social changes that created the absolute perfect environment for theater not just to exist, but to totally flourish.
Okay, so picture this. You've got these four powerful forces all swirling together at the same time. The Renaissance brings in humanism, which means stories about human feelings, love, ambition, betrayal, are suddenly front and center. Then, thanks to the printing press, more people can actually read. And on top of that, you get the ultimate stamp of approval. Queen Elizabeth I herself starts backing acting companies. This gives theater a whole new level of respect. And just like that, going to a play becomes this amazing way to celebrate being English.
And that right there, that's the big takeaway. With the Queen's support, theater literally moved out of these muddy makeshift inn yards and became a legit cultural institution. It wasn't just some scrappy sideshow anymore. It was now a celebrated, sophisticated art form right at the heart of English culture.
All right, so we've got the why down. Now let's talk about the where. Imagine you're in Elizabethan London. You cross the river to the outskirts of the city, where the rules are a little more relaxed, and there it is, the Playhouse. Come on, let's step inside.
And right off the bat, you had a choice to make. You could go to a huge public theater like the Globe, this massive open-air arena that was built for pretty much everybody. Or, if you had some serious cash, you could go to a private playhouse. These were smaller, indoors, lit by candlelight, and super exclusive. Two completely different worlds, offering two totally different experiences.
And when I say these public theaters were big, I mean they were enormous. Think about it, the Globe could pack in up to 3,000 people for a single performance. This wasn't some niche art thing. This was the Elizabethan equivalent of a blockbuster movie opening night.
And this was the secret sauce. It cost just 1 penny to get in. Now, for that penny, you were a groundling, which meant you had to stand in the open-air yard right at the foot of the stage. But hey, you were in. That incredible price is what made theater for everyone, mixing together every single level of society. Now, just look at the stage itself. It is pure genius. First, you've got the thrust stage, which juts out right into the middle of the crowd. This makes the whole thing feel incredibly intimate. But the really clever part is the vertical design. Up above, you have what they called the heavens, with trapdoors for gods to be lowered down. And below the stage, another trapdoor led to hell, where ghosts and demons could pop up. The physical stage was literally a map of the entire cosmos, heaven, earth, and hell, all in one space.
So the crowd is buzzing, the stage is all set. What was it actually like when the show finally began? What would you see? What would you hear?
Well, the first thing you'd probably notice is what's not there. Scenery. There are no painted backdrops of a forest or a castle. The playhouse was the set. So this pillar over here might be a tree. That balcony up there could be the deck of a ship. The rest of it? That had to be built inside the audience's imagination, sparked by the playwright's single greatest tool, the power of language.
And a huge part of that language was its rhythm. Shakespeare and his contemporaries were absolute masters of what we call iambic pentameter. Now I know, that sounds super technical, but it's basically just a line of poetry with a 10-syllable pattern that sounds like a heartbeat. Da-da-dum, da-da-dum, da-da-dum. The magic is that it sounds a lot like the way we naturally talk, which makes the lines feel both epic and incredibly human at the same time.
Just listen to this famous line and feel that rhythm. But soft, what light through yonder window breaks. You can almost hear that heartbeat, right? That's the genius of it. It gives the words their music, their emotion, and this unstoppable momentum.
So, who was up there delivering these incredible lines? Well, get this. The casts were all male. Yep, Juliet, Cleopatra, all played by highly skilled boys and young men. And with no sets, costumes were everything. They had to be super lavish to show a character's social status. Oh, and stage lighting? Forget about it. Everything happened in the bright light of the afternoon sun.
Okay, so we've got the words and the actors, but a play is so much more than that. It's a live experience, right? It's about the vibe.
So what did it actually feel like to be standing in that crowd?
First off, you gotta forget everything you know about polite, quiet theater audiences. An Elizabethan crowd was loud, they were opinionated, and they were a huge part of the show. They'd cheer for the heroes, they'd boo the villains, they might even yell out some advice. The actors were so close they could feed off all that energy, talking right to the audience and creating this amazing interactive experience.
And to build the atmosphere, they used every trick in the book. You had live music to set the mood. For sound effects, they had to get creative. They'd roll cannonballs to make a rumbling noise, or shake a big metal sheet for thunder. But for the really big moments, like a battle scene or a royal entrance, they went all out. They would fire a real cannon, with real gunpowder. Which, as you can probably guess, was not always the best idea. In 1613, during a performance of Henry VIII, a spark from one of those cannon shots hit the thatched roof of the globe and the whole place caught on fire. The entire theater burned to the ground in about an hour. Talk about a dramatic finale.
So when you put it all together, the revolutionary stage, the powerful language, that interactive, rowdy audience, you start to see why this wasn't just another period in theater history. It was a true golden age, and you can still feel its echo today. It was really this unique fusion that made it all work so perfectly. The playhouse itself was an immersive world. The language was so vivid it became the scenery. And the audience wasn't just passively watching, they were part of this incredible shared event. All of that freedom let playwrights create stories that broke all the rules, mixing tragedy and comedy together, just like in real life.
Which kind of leaves us with one final thought. In our world, where we're so often separated by digital screens, what if we may be lost? How does a story really change when the audience isn't just watching in the dark, but is an essential part of the action, right there in the light with everyone else? That feeling, that we are all creating the story together, that might just be the most powerful magic of Shakespeare's theater.